Come on, Roy, get your hands dirty. Here's your look at the Imposter Mama's Boy custom 6-scale figure by Maccabre Art Studio. Just before we get down to the blood-dripping details to the imposter here, first I'd like to thank Dǝvᴉous and, of course, Tanella for this honored opportunity to showcase again one of their custom horror 6-scale figures. We've looked at, I believe, now 3 of them here on this channel, but being that Friday the 13th Part 5 is a guilty pleasure of mine, this was the one I was the most excited for. Now, this was a limited run, though, of only 10 produced, and once that run of 10 had sold out, it's never going to be produced again. If you'd like to follow, though, Dǝvᴉous and Tanella over on their socials, he's doing a lot more on Facebook and on Instagram. And as well, I would certainly encourage, if you guys are interested to have a custom project made by Daniel, perhaps a review like this will give you an idea of just the talented work that he does behind the scenes. Now, I've also got this guy currently on a display stand. Truth be told, he doesn't actually come with a stand, but it's the best way to kind of keep things, everything on him stable. And of course, I'll still go ahead and take the tape measure, and we'll measure to the very top of the figure. Now, he has right now the mask. We're not going to do the reveal just yet. You're looking at, though, the Imposter Mama's Boy standing at about 12 inches in height, or the figure's almost 30 centimeters tall. Also, thanks to Daniel, not only did he provide one of the limited run of 10, but he also wanted to provide as well the original prototype so you guys could see the stages of changes that he made. The biggest changes probably is the height. Roy now in the final run figure is a much taller figure than the original prototype. He also made some significant changes to the boots, where the original ones were a little bit larger and browner in color. He wanted to make it the most screen accurate, so he revised that with the final run as well. For the lucky 10 that were able to participate on this very limited run would then be happy to find the following accessories inside their boxes. First, the figure comes included with a cleaver. The cleaver, the machete, and the shears were all made using the real material. So you've got cool, first of all, to the touch metal, and you've got a real nicely crafted wood handle on all 3 of them. These were all 3 created by Tanella's talented husband, David. Because they're also using the real material, it has the natural weight and feel that goes along with it as well. It's a nice treat because half the time when we get 6-scale figures from a retail level, they're always made of plastic. Now, the cleaver is probably the cleanest of the 3 accessories. I don't want to add any unnecessary blood to it. I do feel like there's a bit of a bird edge to the bottom of this, so I'm going to be careful not to run my finger across it. But again, the attention to detail when it comes to the wood handle, that's one thing that would be consistent with the other 2 accessories that we look at. Next thing that we're going to look at is, of course, a very rusted looking machete. If you were to compare the 2, obviously the machete looks like the one that's been left behind the longest. It does have not only, again, some blood caked across it, it's got some rust on there as well. Things that I also really think that are nice touches is that they add a little bit of wear marks there on the bottom of the handle. So this looks like it's been something that's been used repeatedly and then just discarded away. Lastly, of the things that David participated in, the figure does come also included with the shears. By far is my favorite of the accessories, and one of my favorite kills in all the Friday franchise as well is the fact he literally just goes down and just clips the girl's eyes together. Now, because he's done that, you can see there's a lot of blood that's now been caked across the blades here. Again, cool to the touch because they're using the real metal, and you got nice wood-stained handles there as well. All these accessories as they are right now can be gripped by the imposter, as he does have gripping hands right now. He does also have a series of swappable hands too. Just before we actually look at the swappable hands, continuing on with the tools of the trade, the character also comes included with the road flare. Now the road flare, again, one of my favorite kills. He sticks in this guy's mouth. As you can see, it's already ignited on the end of it. This has nicely been accomplished by adding a little bit of yellow. You got some orange in there as well. Of course, capped on the top and on the bottom, you got the red with the white in the middle. Really nice little accessory. Rounding out the last of it, the figure also comes included with the stick that he uses to tighten around the guy's eyes. Now, I don't know if they've actually used a real leather material for the actual strap, or if they've actually used a stick, or if they've even used wood for that matter, but it's a nice little effective accessory. Not one I would really display along with the character. Like, if I had the chance to have this guy on display, by far the first thing I would go to right away is the shears. Before I actually put them into his hand and show you guys what that looks like. Speaking of hands, the character also does come included with a pair of closed fists. I mean, really, for all the things that he has, why would you ever beeline it back to having closed fists? But the fists themselves continue one trend, at least. They're very dirty. You can see they're just caked in dirt and mud and all the other things that he has. He also comes included with one relaxed hand. I would have said 2, but like he has one kind of more specifically dedicated relaxed hand, and then he has a hand that looks like it's there to hold something. Now, the thing I was thinking about is it probably is there to hold the road flare. Isn't to say really that you can have the road flare with his gripping hand right now, but I guess if you want to have the hand relaxed a little bit holding the flare, you probably could use the hand for that as well. With that all in mind, let's go ahead and take the figure off the display stand. I just want to show you guys as well, like the very bloody looking hands. Now, If I had the chance, if I only had the chance to display this guy on the shelf, by far I would have gone with right away the shears. The shears themselves basically just slide up into his hands. Because this is a figure I'm going to be returning back, I'm going to be very, very careful with handling everything that comes included with him. But if you want to see what he looks like with the shears in his hands, I mean, that would probably be the look that you'd be seeing, the last look you'd be seeing of the imposter before he clipped those eyes shut. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and just carefully remove the shears. I want to slide them off from both sides here. It also seems to, I mean, clearly is the case, that the blood is only really on these hands. Now, the amount of blood that they've added to this is just incredible. Super, super gory, super, super cool. Of course, when you get the actual outfit here, now the outfit itself, the actual bodysuit and the coveralls over top are all done carefully by Tănela. Tănela, we all know how careful she is and how creative she is when it comes to actually tooling 6-scale costumes like this. And obviously for the imposter, I think she's done a really nice job here. There's, of course, the zipper there on the front. We've got a couple little pockets off to the side. He's got the cutaway mark that's left behind from the dueling chainsaw there. And he also, of course, has the gash there featured on the front. Now, if I was to kind of move everything out of the way, I did want to bring back in the prototype, because the prototype doesn't have any of that. Not only, again, is a slightly smaller figure, but you can see as well, like, the color's a little bit different. Doesn't have the gash marks featured on the front. Doesn't have also the little marking that he has on the shoulder either from the chainsaw. But again, like, it just shows you guys where he would have started the design process with and where he would have ended up. Also, one thing I did want to show you guys too is the original design for the boot that he had. It's a larger looking boot. I don't want to show you guys what the final run figure looked like. Just going to slide up his pant leg here. You can see like the boots are a little bit more narrow and they're a lot darker in color. The original concept for the boots had them more in brown, but again, he's always refining this. He really wants to hit those standards that he expects, not only for himself, but his customers as well. As for the actual mask here, now, he did provide 2 masks with this release of, I want to say Roy, but with the imposter. He has one that has the wet, as you can see, there's like water dripping down the front of the face. But then also, he also included the regular cleaner looking mask. I have to admit, like the water on the front of the mask does add a little bit of extra charm to the character. But again, if you wanted to, you can have, I guess, displayed it with the clean mask or without. In both the cases, very carefully made. I'm going to go ahead. Well, in a second, obviously, I'm going to remove the mask, but I did want to show you guys what that mask looks like. You got, of course, the difference of Roy's chevrons there featured from the front. Instead of having the chevron in the middle, he has it now, little side blue ones there. And also something that the original mask would have had too, is the little markings of the blue on the top. Because obviously he would have made this to look like, he would have wanted to make this look like Jason. So he did his best, even though really he doesn't follow really the same placement of chevrons. You think if he was studying Jason Voorhees, he really would want to have like the chevron placement in the middle, but you can see like there's the reflection, there's a little bit of the water trickling down the front of his mask. Now the mask works the same way as it does in the movie. It's got these little elastic straps here on the back that keep this onto his cowl piece. The cowl, like obviously in the movie, when we do finally get the reveal of Roy, he's wearing basically like a cowl hood that goes over top to conceal and kind of give him the look that he has like of Jason. Now, if I was to take this off, carefully removing this, I want to show you guys what Roy's face looks like underneath. I know originally when I saw Friday the 13th Part 5, even when Roy's face was revealed at the end, I still couldn't quite pinpoint who that was. I also thought for a second it was the guy that was actually running the teen house, but then realizing later it was Roy. Obviously, he does have himself the cowl piece that goes around the head here. He does have real hair there rooted in the top, but the head sculpt is uncanny. Spin this around so you guys can see it from all the sides. The attention to detail, not only for the cowl piece for the ears, again, you got some nice coloring there to the top of his head. And because, again, like this is the wet version of Roy, you can see that there's a little bit more of the the rain settling on the top of the cowl. Because this is also a cowl piece, it's going to limit a little more of the articulation. Generally, though, you'd be able to rotate the head and kind of move it around, but because it is all like a one cowl piece, you wouldn't really be able to move it as much. So I'm not going to really budge this guy too much when we kind of talk about the articulation on the character. But again, overall, nice coveralls. They've been weathered and they've been aged. They've been painted really nicely by Art Maccabre. Really nice work here. You got a little bit of wear and tear there on the back of it. A couple of little hole marks there also as well. But I think some of the things I really like the most about this is it's got the little ripped away section there on the shoulder, again, from the chainsaw. And it got the punctured marks there on the front that he also gets inflicted by in the movie. But just, again, a really nice figure. Good quality material also that they did for the coveralls. I feel like there is a little bit of padding, but I think they probably end up using a slightly bigger build of body underneath. So that's probably one of the reasons why the Imposter feels like he's a little bit bigger than a normal 6-scale figure. All in all, though, it's a really nice looking figure. For the articulation on this guy, again, we're going to go back to the head sculpt here. I don't want to move this guy too much because, again, there's very limited options available when it comes to moving this guy's head, simply just because, again, it's all encased by all this one single sculpt here. But the head does move up and down just a little bit, just a little bit. You can also rock it back and forth. Obviously, I'm going to be handling this thing literally with, I mean, like, not really with gloves, but also, you know, you kind of get the idea. I'm going to be a little bit more careful when it comes to handling this guy. His arm does hinge out. One thing I did notice, though, is the body that they've used, and Daniel probably can let me know down below in the comment section, seems to have more ratcheted joints added in there as well, just to add the ensured down the road that, of course, the joints aren't going to develop looseness. You can feel, like, even if I stop talking for a second, you can almost even hear like there's ratcheted joints there in his elbows. So it seems like he has no swiveling there in his bicep. He does certainly, though, have swiveling in his arm. He does have ratcheted joints there as well. Hands, of course, rotate all the way around, as bloody as they may be. The upper torso does look like it's got a bit of a ball joint there as well. Legs split out. You can bring them forward and back. There's a swivel there at the top of the thigh. A double hinge, it seems, in the knees. And again, he's got the articulation, which, again, I'm just going to bring back up the legs so you guys can see how much work went even just into the boots. Now, the boots are fairly screen accurate. I feel also, too, when it came to the mask, they revised this about 3 different times until it met finally the film standards of really what Daniel wanted this to look like. So again, like the attention to detail, this guy's gone back a couple of times, researched the property that he was basing the figure from. You can definitely see, like, that's a very screen accurate mask. Again, like, we're just going to go ahead and slide this back over top of the Imposter's head. And we're getting back onto the display stand here. Not only was I thrilled the fact that Daniel gave me the chance to have a look at this guy, but also, too, like, he provided as well the original prototype figure. Now, I did also want to just lift the mask up, even though this isn't really what the final run figure would have looked like. Just even like the prototype alone. Maybe it doesn't have as much paint on it. Obviously doesn't have the wetness marks left behind by the rain, but even just like the prototype, you can kind of see, like, Daniel already had an idea in mind of what exactly he wanted this figure to look like. Now, of course, we'll go ahead and get this guy back onto his display stand. The sad thing about this is that if you guys missed your chance to get your hands on the original, the Imposter, like I said, it was limited to a run of 10. So with the 10 now being sold out and collectors, I think, now all getting their hands on him, the likelihood, I don't think they're probably going to be releasing or remaking the Imposter again. So it's always really kind of good to follow Daniel, Dǝvᴜous, and of course Tanella over on the socials. Facebook would probably be your best option. Instagram will also be a good outlet too to reach out to Daniel if you want a project done by him. But I would also really always say this too. The other 2 figures that we've already had a look at by Daniel and Tanella, also too, like, those figures are always limited runs. And by the time I have the chance to have a look at these, that run is always usually sold out. They're always sold out. So, like, if you guys wanted to follow them in advance, you can kind of get an idea of what Daniel's currently working on. Hey, why not? If you guys are also interested to kind of get in on one of those projects before they sell it, it's always best idea to follow him over on Facebook. Great looking figure, though. I mean, for me, being like a Friday the 13th Part 5 fan, I know lately I've kind of jumped over to Friday 6 as being my favorite of the franchise, but for a while it was New Beginning. And I would say, like, he's done not only a service to Roy, he's also done a service also to the collectors out there that really wanted to get a screen accurate look to Roy. I think really the Imposter Mommas boy is the closest thing you're going to get to having him look like he does in the movie. So now we're going to move over to the rotisserie. And now it's sad news to say it's also going to be the last chance we're going to have a look at the Imposter Mommas boy before I get the figure carefully packed and shipped back over to Daniel. Daniel, Dǝvᴜous, and of course Tanella have collaborated over several amazing custom horror 6-scale figures. I hope you guys have had the chance to follow their exploits over on their socials. If you haven't, definitely follow them now. We've only had the chance to have a look at 3 of them here on this channel, but perhaps my love for Friday 5 being so high, I would say it's my favorite that they've done so far. Daniel said from start to finish, it took this figure about 4 to 6 months for its creation. In fact, he was such a stickler for detail, he went back and revised the mask 3 times before he was happy with the results that he had. And it definitely shows. Not only does the mask look screen accurate, right down to little drops of blue paint that he has on the top and the bottom of the mask, but the fact that he would also go in there and add little beads of water, not only on the cowl, but on the mask as well. So it looks the way that the Imposter looks near the end of the movie. Of course, the weathering has been also added to Tanella's tailorship that she's done here for the coveralls. They've added the gashes, they've added the wounds, all the things that the Imposter inflicts throughout the movie. And it, again, like, the work is definitely, I can only hope that with this video, it has done proper justice of showing you guys just so much how much effort with 2 talented people go into creating a figure this good. Now, of course, when it comes to also Tanella's husband, David, contributing, creating the cleaver, creating the machete, creating the shears from real metal and wood. Though wrapping up the review, I don't really have any of those accessories displayed in the imposter's hands. Decided to shed some light on the situation at the end of this. I wanted to add at least the road flare, which is, again, one of the cool accessories that come included with this. The thing about this, though, is once again, it was a limited run. Only 10 of these were produced. I, again, have to send this one back over to Daniel. But if you had the chance, let me know down below in the comments section if you got in on this run when it was available. I would always really say, and I mentioned this in this review as well, follow them what they're doing over on Facebook and on Instagram. Daniel also makes the rounds on various Facebook horror groups. You can always really see what he's up to at the moment. And if you had the chance, maybe you'll be lucky enough to get in on the runs before they sell out. Big thank you again to Tanella. Big thank you again to Daniel Terzo for allowing me the chance to have a look at the Imposter Mama's Boy. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know down below in the comments section. And have you also been lucky enough to buy one of the works from Daniel? If you have, let me know which figure it was down below in the comments. If you guys did enjoy this video, do it a solid. Throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. Hit the subscribe, turn on that bell, and of course come back. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.